Yeah, when I was a kid and I read the Bible, I was pissed because Adam and Eve screwed up, and
Yeah,
God blamed, and then we've been living in that and the sins of Adam and Eve all this time. Like, man, that
yeah.
sucks. God, man, God's not. Man, I would never do something like that. Adam and Eve, and then all
Hmm.
humanity's got to live through this stuff. Um, so that was the perspective I took on as a kid. Okay, some of the stories were cool, and I liked some of the things about Christ, what Christ said, and all that. But the Adam and Eve story really like tweaked me as a young kid.
Hmm.
And as I've been doing this what our modality is about is what I've discovered in each and every moment. I have the choice of whether I eat from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, right and wrong, or not. And if I eat
Hmm.
from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, I immediately fall out of grace, and my intuition is shut off. My imagination and enthusiasm is as well, and I blame life and I become a victim.
Hmm.
So that's I'm glad that I spent all that time in there, for all these years, decades actually, because now I have a PhD in living in right and wrong.
Hmm.
So now I can feel it, and if it comes on, and I can tell within clients of how of where they are in consciousness, not who they are, but where they are in consciousness and what their words are creating. And if somebody's creating from a place of duality, the creation is going to have anger, frustration, and shame, guilt, all tied up in it. But we're creating from a place of pure choice. That's when we're
Hmm.
creating with enthusiasm and just heaven on earth. I mean, it's you know, if somebody would have told me 15 years ago, Mark, you're going to be doing speaking and getting people back into touch with the power of love and all this, I would have gone, you are nuts, because I had a speech impediment as a child and I stuttered for 50 years.
Yeah.
And for me to speak in front of a group of people, I would sweat through a shirt to speak for 3 minutes. I couldn't say the word love 15 years ago. It's like somebody
Hmm.
was choking me. Like I was one of the person who could talk about what I hated, but not to be able to say what I loved. So as I've been again begin to do this, I've forgave all the stuff that happened with my upbringing, and not
Hmm.
only forgave it, but I see it as my greatest strength in my life now. One of the
Yeah.
spiritual laws we work with is our greatest weakness should be our greatest strength. So I had a speech impediment, a stuttering issue, and I couldn't say the word love. So what am I here for? I'm here to speak and get people back into touch with love. And
Wow. Beautiful.
I love what
Hmm.
I do. And everyone has a purpose. And
Hmm.
if you're depressed, if you said there's a lot of depression in your country and things going on.
Hmm.
So if somebody has the depression going on, it's because they have their purpose and their mission that they have yet to express.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so we can find those purposes and that what that expression is for that person very quickly with our system. And then once you have that purpose and be able to express their purpose, their love and enthusiasm, passion for life exponentially increases. And no matter what they're doing, their purpose is bigger than what they're doing. So they can still do the same things. It's just they're going to do it with love and enthusiasm and passion, because like all of a sudden they begin to realize maybe one of their purposes, I awaken love in all I contact. I
Hmm.
ignite enthusiasm in everyone I meet. And if you're whatever you're doing, you bring your purpose to what you're doing, and the person's success ratio is going to skyrocket.
That's it. One of our very, very first conversation, what, a couple of weeks ago now, you used the word enthusiasm, and I left it, and I didn't think about it. And then the following morning, because I write my mantra out every morning, which has got my six values in it, and the order was always bravery, tenacity, enthusiasm, and inspiration, honest and present towards everyone I meet. After our very, very first conversation, I went, wait a minute, the order's wrong. The order's, you just flip it. So my values haven't changed. And yeah, I've been, it took me 18 months to find them, and I've been trying to live them for the last 5 or 6 years. But the order now is enthusiasm, bravery, and tenacity. Because what our very first conversation made me realize was that, well, wait a minute, if I'm enthusiastic, bravery and tenacity just They're just the byproducts, because I'm so excited about being enthusiastic about life. And when I think back to, getting off those helicopters and going and prosecuting the stuff that the battle that we used to do, there was the enthusiasm for it. Yeah, bravery was great, but when you're stepping off a helicopter into a gunfight, it takes enthusiasm to bring the team along. So powerful. And you also mentioned during that conversation and yesterday that it's not just our words. Our bodies are always sending messages. What did you mean by that?
Well, every state of non-ease, use correct terminology here. Every state of non-ease is actually a signal of something going on in the person's consciousness. So if somebody has issues with the pancreas, and what things come out of that, so if somebody has an issue with the pancreas is about converting sugar. So they have a bitterness towards life. They haven't been able to enjoy the sweetness of life. The lungs, and this is Chinese medicine, the lungs are about grief, suppressed grief and fear. Now, the reversal of that is inspiration. So, we have this thing going around on the planet right now, and it affects the lungs. So how many people that are fully living their inspired life?
Yeah.
I mean, choose a no. So as we get to higher and higher levels of enthusiasm, like I remember whatever 20, 30, maybe longer than that. Back in the 70s, I saw an article and they said the doctors said 95% of all diseases were caused by stress, of all diseases. And we can control. I mean, stress is not something that happens to us. Stress is something that happens because we're not living our purpose, because we believe we're separate from life, because we believe we're a victim, because we believe we don't have a choice. I mean, all those things, those conversations create the stress. So as we get into enthusiasm, which the word enthusiasm comes from the Greek word entheos, meaning with God.
Yep.
And with God is also in scriptures, God is love, God is light, God is truth, and God is life. So all those words are interchangeable. So when we're living our life with truth and love, then these things can't touch us. So, I mean, I choose to know. I mean, so far as being sick, it's been, it's been a long time. So far as going to a doctor, I don't know, 30 something years ago. And when I got into this, I wore glasses. Everyone in my family wears glasses. When I got into this, my vision healed in a week. I told you I had a fear of speaking. So my fear of speaking, I had tumors in my throat from just beginning to shut off. And I just coughed and spit those out. I mean, wow, I was actually on a date. What was that?
Nice.
Yeah, well, that was a talking point from that moment on. But I mean, for real, I mean, it's like our body will heal itself and clear it all up. It's amazing what our bodies can do.
Yeah, totally. And I've sort of got. I was listening to you and drifting. Before the break, you spoke about Thanksgiving. Sorry, forgiveness is the start point, but you've got to get beyond forgiveness into thanks. Yeah, I mean, I know folks that are with decades of pain. And I'm quite sure there are people listening to what you've just said who are in that. They like the sound of it, but yeah, how do we get there? How do we how do we move to forgiveness and through forgiveness to thanks?
Yeah, well, just say, whatever some simple steps, whatever happens in my life, I choose to be able to make it okay. If you can't make it okay, I choose to be able to make it okay. Start off with something simple. And then I choose to be able to forgive this person. And don't do it for the person. Only person that this is doing it for, I choose to be able to forgive this person for me. You say those words until you feel every word. Most likely it's going to be emotional.
Yep.
And also when somebody does this, their body temperature is going to go up very dramatically, very quickly. I think you've experienced some of that as well. Whenever we're suppressing a feeling, harboring a feeling, it creates an endothermic reaction in our body. And as we change it and transform it, it goes from endothermic to exothermic. And a lot of times people maybe had um, a parent who was very demanding, a strong authority in their life. So if somebody had that experience as a child, the adult becomes where they don't want to hurt, like express their authority and make people feel the way they did as a child. So they hold it, they throw their authority back, and then they walk around pissed.
Yeah.
So, we reframe these things with, if somebody had that going on, they get to be playful authority in their life. I love my playful authority. And everything we come to, we bring enthusiasm to it. We always do this stuff just for ourselves and not those, don't say myself, say me. I do this for me. I can do this for me, and say it over and over and over again. It's going to get emotional, guys. I mean, and it works very quickly. And
I think it's one of the things that we do lock down, and this comes from personal experience, but also working with folks. We lock down our emotions, and there takes a level of courage to lean into that.
yeah, and it's okay to lock them down. I mean, you can live your whole life that way. A lot of people do it. And if you can just be truthful with yourself and go, okay, so if I keep holding on to this stuff for the next 10 years, be honest with yourself. So see what your life looks like. Answer it honestly. Get a contrast. If I hold on to this for 10 years, what's my life like? Well, I'm still miserable. I'm still, I'm still pissed at my mom or dad or whoever. And I go, okay, cool. That's fine. You can live that way. Like I take all the right wrong off of it. And then like if somebody has a big charge about that, I say, you don't have to forgive them, but just pretend if you did that you did somehow or another, just pretend you did it. But whatever you do, don't do it. Just pretend you do.
Yeah.
As soon as you can pretend it, all of a sudden things will open up. You'll be now. What's your life like in 3 years? Well, I'm finally free to do what? Live my own life. Because if you're harboring all that stuff, you're living you're carrying all that baggage with you. I mean, you can do it, but good gosh.
Yeah. And I've, Liz, my wife, showed me something yesterday, and I've often spoken about wearing the rucksack, and all the baggage that you're carrying, it's in your pack, and it's the stuff that's down at the bottom that you've forgotten about for years and years and years and years and years, that it just lives there, and you're carrying that weight with you. You mentioned earlier on lineage, and this is what Liz raised with me yesterday, was that sometimes it's not even our baggage we're carrying.
Yeah, but however, we made an agreement to come down and resurrect this stuff. I mean,
Pick it in the pack. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything, whatever you were born into, whatever I was born into as a child that I hated, I found out is my greatest gift. So anyway, it's as you begin here's the easiest way I've found to clear up the stuff. So maybe you had family who had a lot of anger and hate for not living their dreams. Like that's when people begin to have all this stuff, when they start to a person begins to give up their dreams. What happens is fear, doubt, and worry rush in to take the place of living the life of your dreams. Fear, doubt, and worry don't keep you from living. The person gave up their dreams, and then those things came into place. And most likely, this stuff has happened in your lineage, no telling for how long ago. So if you can just imagine, if you can take your arms and put them around every one of your lineage and feel all their pain, the fear, doubt, worry, anger, frustration from living, from sadness, all that stuff. And just go tell them, guys, it's okay. I got this.
There you go. I'm feeling it now. Yep. I'm feeling this now.
Yeah. And just tell them, it's okay, guys. I got this. I can do this. I can do this. And what happens is all that karmic burden begins to come off. Like all of a sudden, feel your lineage just go, oh my God, thank you for taking the weight off me. That's Christ-like, I mean, that's you're forgiving your lineage, and then all of a sudden you begin to walk free. I mean,
Yeah.
no one in my family taught me this stuff, but
Mm.
but the pain I lived in was my fast track to finding it.
Yeah, and yeah, I can personally vouch for that one, and I'm quite sure lots of folks listening are suddenly seeing, you've seen that they've got so much more control than maybe they thought they had. Mark, this, yeah, every conversation we have, it just fascinates me, and it ends up with more questions. Yeah, trust me, there are answers, but it ends up with more questions, and I'm so excited to keep going. Yeah, if folks are listening to the show today or listening to the playback, and something just triggers a reaction or a response, how do we get in touch with you?
Yep. So our website is www.encompasslife.com, and you can
Hmm.
check out our website. You can also send me an email if you choose. My email is mark@encompasslife.com, and then put in, you know, in the subject line Stu, or Stu Darling, and so I know where you came from, and
Yep.
I'll respond. But we have we have an online school. I'm training people to become coaches in this modality. We have a number of online classes. We have some very priced from all varieties of
Mhm.
pricing, so you can get into this very easily. And these classes and things have a very profound change in a very short period of time. I mean, I've worked with people with all type of substance issues, and I mean all kind of things. And our success ratio is very high. As long as somebody will
I,
play the game, it works 100% of the time.
so you told me a story yesterday, and yeah, just to bring this one into land. You told me the story about the lady with the thyroid. Please, if you're happy to, please share that story, because it's powerful, man.
Yeah, I've worked with numerous people with thyroid issues. We have one of our coaches. She has hypothyroid. Hypothyroid is about going into resignation with anger. So in other words, a lot of things she was
Hmm.
pissed about that she just went resigned to, and that's just the way life is. That's hypo. And when she started working with us about a year ago, she was taking 175 milligrams of whatever her meds are. Within a
Hmm.
short period of time, she was down to 125, down to 100. Now she's down to 50. No changes in nutrition, no changes in anything, just the consciousness piece. Now it's been
Hmm.
intense because she's reclaiming the thyroid is suppressed authority. So as
Yep.
she's beginning to express herself and reclaim her authority, it's been intense for her, and her thyroid's working again after 22 years. I mean, the
Hmm.
doctor said you'll never be off the meds. Well, guess what? She'll be off them very quickly. And I've had numerous stories about doing this with people. I mean,
That's yeah, phenomenal. I mean, it just isn't the the words, yeah, the words we use sometimes, yeah, aren't sufficient to see the power that we all have, when we choose to embrace our true selves rather than live, where live, I suppose, live with our lineage. Mark, this has been absolutely fascinating. As you know, as I said to you during the break, I could go on and on and on, but we won't. You chose a track of music, and when you sent it in, it made me chuckle. Tell me, tell me why.
Yeah, because it's a really upbeat song, and it's talking about a relationship with love, but it's talking about with a girl. But instead of making it about a girl, I'm making it. I sing whenever I listen to the song, it's about my relationship to life, and
Great.
I hooked on a feeling love, and it's a really playful song. And instead of making it about a person, I make it about life, and that's what my relationship with life's become. And it's just it took me, geez, I don't know, 50 something years to honestly say I love life. I mean, I really love life. I mean, I've heard people like, I love life, I love you. And as they say it with no feeling and no
Hmm.
emotion, like, oh yeah, I love you too, man. No, when you say I love you, make sure you feel love. And that's the gift you give yourself, no matter whether it comes back or not. Doesn't matter. I'm the one keeping it whenever I say I love you. I love you, Stu. You're awesome.
And what a great way to finish